All right, hello everyone, and peace of Christ to all. Today, as we informed you, we have an interview with a person maybe most of you do not know, but maybe you can join him later in his casting. And his name is Ben, and he is live with me right now. And please introduce yourself.
I certainly am, Christian. My name's Ben. I run a podcast called Who Knew I Was Right, and it's very odd to be on this opposite end. You're introducing me. It's normally me introducing the guest. So, yeah, good fun.
Yeah, that's a good one. Because, you know, people who they are listening to me, they don't know you. And maybe people who they are listening to you, they don't know me. So, and from my side, I'm a Christian Prince. Just type my name in the internet and you will get scared.
Indeed. But to be honest with you, I spent the last couple of days watching the videos. I didn't get scared. I got informed. I was very impressed with your content, and I've learned a lot. And I've written down a few questions today as well from your videos that I'd like to just talk about and expand on a little bit further, if that's all right.
Sure.
Excellent. Well, just for the benefit of my audience and my show, I'm going to now introduce yourself, Christian. Now, I'm sure your audience are all going to know this as well, but just bear with me for all of 1 minute to make this all make sense my side. So let's have a second start of the day where he gets his microphone cable out of his chair. See, that's why I edit, you see, to get rid of that kind of stuff. But anyways, today I am joined by Christian Prince. Now, in order to give this man a proper introduction, I've gone to his Wikipedia page. And may I say, Christian, as well, you are my first guest that's had its own Wikipedia page. So, yeah, I'm honored. But it says, Christian Prince is an author and Christian apologist. Christian Prince was born and raised in a Christian family in the Middle East. He is a native Arabic speaker. After his teachers criticized his religion, he determined to study Islam and earned a degree in Islamic law, which is Sharia law, as we all know, and civil law. He is the author of The Deception of Allah and has posted hundreds of videos on YouTube showing him debating various Muslim scholars on Paul Talk. Is that right? Paul Talk?
Yes, Paul Talk. Yeah.
Paul Talk, including Shia scholar Hushman al-Husseini, and he also uses a pseudonym Christian Prince for his protection. Now, I'll tell you what, let's start off on that one. Protection. Do you feel you need some protection? Have you been subjected to any threats for criticizing Islam?
The one who made the Wikipedia is not me. So this is what people believe. But for me, it's for more privacy. Not really. I don't fear no one. But it gives me more freedom. Like as an example, in the coming after New Year, I'm going to go to some countries around the world, and still I can go in Islamic countries and they will not know that this is a Christian Prince. So it gives me a great advantage of going anywhere and no one have an idea who is this guy. So it's not really you know, as a protection as much it is it's better. But the person, like the person who made the Wikipedia page, I don't know, they said like hundreds of videos. I have thousands of videos.
Not having it. That's how common now. Give me justice. I have thousands. Get on there and change it yourself and make it look that little bit cooler.
Yeah, it's okay. Whoever make it, you know, maybe he can fix it. Yeah.
Indeed. Now, look, first question I've got for you today is, when did Islam first start playing a role in your life?
You see, in the Middle East, when you grow up in the society, right away, since the childhood, you start learning that there is something that's called a Christian and there is something that's called Muslims, and there's a problems, you know, there. And you go to school, you know, the majority are Muslims, and you find yourself like a unique person somehow, and everything is against you. TV stations speak against you, radio stations speak against you, textbooks, everything is against you. And then in the same time, if you try to find the answer, because the Christians in the Middle East, the same as any Christian minority in Islamic countries, they live in fear. So this is a topic nobody want to talk about. So even if you try to find, let us say, answers, how we can refute those Muslims, rarely you find the brave ones who they are willing to talk about it, because it's very risky. So it was a challenge, and challenge make you even better fighter, you know, for the truth. So it was not really a bad experience for me, as much it was an encouragement. And I believe if it's not what it is, I will not be who I am today. you know.
Do you mind me asking whereabouts in the Middle East you were
I don't
born?
share this information for better purpose.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. Now, you always heard that there was a difference. You know, you always hear, you know, within Islamic countries talking about the Christian being different to the Muslims. But how did the actual like general population treat you? Did you feel that you were like ostracized, or were they treating you normally?
No, not really, because you know, simply like even in the Middle East, if you are from a Christian family, but let us say, depend how powerful your family is and who you are, then they can treat you differently. In the Middle East, they discriminate everybody, even Muslims are discriminated. So I did not suffer from real problems because we are not the kind of family who take things down, which means if somebody insult my family, they will face the consequence. It doesn't matter if they are Muslims or not. So I was like, I wasn't brought from the kind of groups who accept insult or accept discrimination. So I did not really face any problems. But the only problem we have, that we don't have somebody to share answers with us and how we can refute Muslims. And when you refute Muslims, you have to be careful too. You know, you cannot say Muhammad is a false prophet. You cannot say, you have to be extremely careful when you refute them, you know. Otherwise you are igniting, you are looking for a fight, a big fight, and because you are the minority, obviously you are not capable of winning this fight.
For sure. Well, I've noticed the way you take on Islam is academically. Now, you actually went to university to study. What was the course called? Was it a bachelor's degree, a three-year
Well, no,
course?
yeah, I have a degree in Islamic law. I'm qualified to be a lawyer or a judge in Islamic court or any court in the Middle East. And you know, in the Middle East, when you learn law, you have to study religion. It's a must because everything is connected to religion. So you have to study Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. But you study only the side where it is about the law. Now, when it's come to Islam, Islam is involved in everything. I mean, even if you want to open a window in your house, Islam is involved with that. You know, you have to go by the Sharia law. If you build a house, how high the fence will be, should be. Everything is involved, like even the architect of buildings, streets. So Islam is trying to put itself in everywhere in life, and this is why you have to study the Islamic law, and that, you know, goes to for inheritance and divorce and marriage and crimes. So all the law is based on what it's called Sharia law. But in the same time, I after studying forever this cult, I found that there is nothing is called Sharia law. It is about what Muhammad he created, but it was not really Allah. It was a bunch of moody stuff. This guy, sometimes something he says something in the morning, he says something the opposite afternoon. So it was not really Allah as much. It is whatever Muhammad he says we follow. You know, because you know, when you say law, you are talking about as like an intelligent constitution or design. But if you look at the Sharia practice, it's a very savagery, and there is no logic of it, and it's full of contradictions.
Yeah, I've found, especially in my last episode talking to my previous guest, that Muhammad used to use the word of God to manipulate situations to his advantage. Have you come across this as well? Is what I'm saying there, does that make sense?
Well, everything in Islam is about Muhammad advantage. There's nothing about the advantage of his God. You know, the Quran always speak about that you have to obey Muhammad and Allah. And if you don't obey Muhammad, you are not obeying Allah. But all of us, we knew that Muslims, they never saw Allah, they never heard Allah, they heard only Muhammad. As an example, in chapter 3 verse 32, it says, قُلْ أَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولَ فَإِن تَوَلُّوا فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْكَافِرِينَ. Which mean obey the prophet, obey Allah and the messenger, and those who disobey, they are kuffar, and Allah, he don't like them. So it's simple and clear that you have to obey Muhammad. Same you can find in chapter 3 verse 132. Same can be found in chapter 4 verse 59. It's all over, you know, like it's all over the Quran that obedience to Muhammad is a must, not the obedience to Allah. As an example, if you read something in the Quran, the Muslim, they say to you, as an example, that mut'a was a practice of Islam in this uncertain time, and this is can be found in chapter 4 verse 24. Now you ask them today, the Muslim Sunnis specifically, they say to you the Prophet he abrogated this verse, but shouldn't you obey Allah? Allah he says you do mut'a. Allah never said ever don't do mut'a. So which one you follow? They follow Muhammad. So obviously obedience to Muhammad is a lot more important than obedience to Allah.
Wow. Wow, that's a why do you think that is?
Because he is the God. I mean, he is this guy. He is just replacing God by himself. Even his name is Muhammad. Do you know what Muhammad mean?
No.
The praised one. You know, obviously he is claiming to be God, because when you say the praised one, it's so who is the praised to? Allah. You know what I mean? So Muhammad, he changed his name. His real name is Qatham. He switched it to the praised one, and by doing that, simply he is placing himself as the holy God. But yet he claimed that he is the holy servant of God. But the fact, everything about him. You see, the Muslims, as an example, they say the Christians, by worshiping Jesus, they commit shirk, which means sharing worshiping God with other person. But the Muslims actually they are the one who do that, because for us as a Christian we believe in the Trinity, and the Trinity is for us is not three gods. But the Muslims, they always associate the name of Muhammad with the name of their God. If a Muslim says that I witness that Allah is God, is he enough to be considered to be a Muslim? No. The Shahada have to be containing two names, the name of Allah and the name of Muhammad. Now if Muhammad's message is about believing in Allah, so why he inserted his name next to the name of Allah? And how he is qualified to be next to the name of his God? And how he can say that if you want to be saved, you have to witness that there is no God but Allah and there is no prophet but Muhammad? What about the 124,000 prophet of Islam? What about we add their names to the Shahada? Because Islamic claim that Allah he sent 124,000 prophet and Muhammad is the last one according to the Muslims. So if the Shahada is a truthful, not about Muhammad being equal to God, then the Muslim, if they want to insult and they want to insert a name of a prophet, they should add all the names of the 124,000 prophet. What about the Muslim? They show us that Moses in his times told his, because Muslim they say Moses was a Muslim. Did Moses told the Jew that you have to say there's no God but Allah and Moses is a prophet? No. Did Jesus did that? No. So why only Muhammad? Obviously Muhammad is just a person trying, he plays himself as a servant of God, but he is above his God, and his God is just a tool for his money, for his sex, for his favor. You know, Muhammad make chapters just about his private part, about his sexual needs. Even Aisha, she said to Muhammad in the Sahih hadith, إني أرى ربك يسارع إلى هواك يا Muhammad. I see your God, he rush into your desire, Muhammad. So even Aisha, she noticed that Muhammad is a scam. You know, what kind of God he make a chapter saying that any woman she want to give herself to the prophet? I mean, why the prophet need women to give themselves to him? You know, what exactly that will do to God and to Islam? If this guy is interested in spreading Islam, is that how you do it? That any woman she can take off her skirt and she jump with you in the bed? That does not make sense. So obviously all the agenda of Muhammad is about him and him and him, and then Allah is just, you know, a name I use to give myself the authority.
I've never thought about that before. I really haven't. The fact that Muhammad puts himself on parity with his God, that's crazy to think that he could even do that, and it just shows the ego of the man.
Actually, he is more important than God. You know, the Quran says that inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Allah and his angels, they are praying on the prophet. Okay, how he is praying in the prophet? I mean, how that can be? You know, if God, you know, you see, God and the angels all doing one thing. They are praying on Muhammad and they are saluting him, and this can be found in chapter 33 verse number 56. The Muslim, they will say to you that this is the word yusallun mean a blessing. This is a false translation, but let us go with the Muslim false explanation. Even if Allah and the angels, they are sending a blessing in Muhammad, that will make Muhammad the center of the whole universe. Because the verse is so clear, إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. Who is left? Let us see. Allah and the angels are praying on Muhammad, and the believers, they pray on Muhammad and they salute him. So the whole universe have one person in the middle, and Allah and the angels and the believers in around him, all of them, they are doing one thing, praying on Muhammad. How that can make Muhammad a servant of God, I have no idea. Obviously he is God, because even Allah himself and the angels are in his service. You know, when Muhammad he have a fight with his wives, Muhammad he made a verse about that, you know, saying you know, if you don't repent from being against the prophet, you know, Allah and the angels and the believers are going to be his backup. And this can be found in chapter 66 verse number 4. إن تتوبا إلى الله فقد صغت قلوبكما وإن تظاهرا عليه فإن الله هو مولاه وجبريل وصالح المؤمنين والملائكة بعد ذلك ظهير. So if you repent, speaking to the wives of Muhammad, what kind of God he need to make a chapter about a guy having a fight with two of his wives? I mean, do need God to be involved in this? You know, you see, the Muslims, they say to us, they lie. They say there's Bernard Shaw. He said in one of his books, which is this book never been exist, it's just a lie, that Muhammad he can solve the problem of the words when he is drinking his coffee in the morning in 2 minutes. Wow. Muhammad he needed a chapter in the Quran to help him to fight his wives, and the verse saying that if you don't repent, you women, Allah and the angels and the believers, all of them, they are going to back him up. So what do you mean he can solve it? Two women versus Allah and the angels and 1.4 billion, they will back up Muhammad fighting two women. What kind of man he is and what kind of God he needs such a support? So obviously this man, each time he have a problem in his life, he silence anyone, including his own family members, like his wives, as we see in this case, chapter 66 verse number 4. If you don't obey me, I will make a verse. And then God said, who dare to say we don't care what God said? So Muhammad, in order always to silence his enemies, even if they are his wives, because he considers them as enemies too, for he is abusing them and using them, in order to silence those people, right away he create Quran. And this is the best way. He noticed that when you make a Quran, there's no more argument. That's it. Allah said, you obey. It's over.
Indeed. I just want to jump back a little bit, really, and just expand on Aisha's thoughts on Muhammad. You were saying, if I've written this down right, that he was a little bit of a, she thought he was pulling a little bit of a scam, making some dodgy moves.
Well, obviously, Aisha, she noticed that Muhammad is not being truthful. You know, why he made the verses saying that any woman she give herself to the prophet. I mean, he have many wives. And then she noticed right away that this God, he rushed into his desire. And you know, the simple question we can ask for the Muslims, what Islam will accomplish from making a verse saying that God said that any woman she can sleep with the prophet if she want. I mean, what the accomplishment for Islam? And this is only a license for Muhammad. Why Muhammad he can have those license? All of them, all the license of Muhammad, the private license, is about sex, money, and names. You know, like Muhammad, he have a special treatment in everything. Muhammad, he will be given a special river in the paradise. Muhammad, he will given Mary, the mother of Jesus, and he will be given the wife of the Pharaoh. I mean, what's wrong with this guy? Why even in heaven, a woman she exists 600 years before him, he will be given her, which is an insult to the Christians, to sleep with him. So this guy, he concentrate in his benefit, and he is above the law. The Muslim, they can marry up to 4 women according to Muslims understanding of the Quran. Okay, how many wives Muhammad you have? You ask any Muslim, he will say to you, oh, because he's a prophet. I never heard that because if you are a prophet, that's make you above the law. A prophet should be the first. Print. Yeah, a prophet, he should be the best example and the first to obey, not the last one to obey.
Yeah. Look, I've got a quick question. Yeah, let's say he's having a domestic argument with Aisha, and then he wants to have a revelation from Allah to justify his view. What type of period of time does he do? Does he go outside and come back in a couple of hours later and be like, just had a word with God? Does he go and retreat into his cave and then come back and say, I've received some more revelations?
No, not
and this is what
necessarily.
I'm allowed to do. How can he then manipulate the word of God to his own benefit?
First of all, there's no manipulating of word of God, because this is not the word of God.
Okay, yeah.
You know, this is just his own fabrication. This guy, when he says something, he says something and he created. You know, he is very creative. At the same time, he is learning from old. You know, I have a book and I'm working on it right now about the roots of the Quran. You will see that at his time, many people, they accuse him that he is copying it from people who they are Christians, and some they are Sabians. And you know, Muhammad, obviously he is copying from those people. He learned a lot from them, but what he learned, he have to change a little bit of it so he can make it that he is not copying from them. As an example, if you go to chapter 16 verse 103, it says, and we know that those who they say that the one who is teaching him is a human. If you go and read behind this, you will find that they accuse him that there's a guy, as an example, his name is Addas, another person, and those are slaves who they are captured from Iraq, and supposedly they are either Nasara or Christians. And Muhammad, he used to listen to them, and he learned from them stories about what is called the Bible. But I believe most of the stories he learned from the Nasara, which is from the rejected Bibles, like there's books like nobody heard of, like the Bible of Paul. There is the Bible of Abraham, or let's say the section of Abraham where he go to heaven, and the story of Paul going to heaven. So Muhammad was learning those stories, and he used them to recreate stories from them, you know. And Muhammad always, he tried to say what will make him more convincing, but each time he tried to do that, he is not really successful. This is why he have a very hard time to make the Arab, all the time he was in Mecca, to believe in him. You know, when he went to Bani Thaqif, which is in a Taif, they did beat him, they insult him. There's a guy, he said to him, if you are really a prophet, I will strip the Kaaba. The other guy, he said to him, strip the Kaaba, which is an insult, you know, which means the Kaaba, we will enclose the Kaaba, you know, which means I will stop believing in God, you know, if you are a prophet. The other one, he said to him, God could not find someone else to send to us except you. So obviously he was extremely unconvincing. And not only that, they throw rocks at him, they beat him, they broke his teeth, and even he took like he took a break for some time before he arrived back to Mecca, because he don't wanted people to see what happened to him there. And he asked them, those people of Thaqif, what happened between us, keep it between us, which means what you did to me, don't talk about it. But those people, they talk, and the news left all over. So Muhammad was not convincing.
Sorry, pardon to interrupt you, but these guys they believed in the pagan gods at the time. Yeah, they weren't Christians or the Jews down in Mecca.
Well, you know, the history of that era is not really too much stable to consider them what they are. However, I believe strongly they are pagans too, like Muhammad, and they believe in the Kaaba, because the guy, he said to him clearly, if you are really truly a prophet, I will strip the Kaaba, which means they believe in the Kaaba. So but still, even those, because, you know, remember, Muhammad is a pagan, that's the same as the rest. Muhammad did not bring a new religion. They believe in Allah. The pagans, they believe in Allah. Many people, they think that the pagans don't believe in Allah. No, Allah is their God. Allah is their God, and they believe in the Kaaba, and they kiss the black stone. So what is left? What is left is that Muhammad, he don't want other gods to be around the Kaaba. He accepted only two, Allah and Akbar. Akbar and Allah, supposedly they merged to be one God. This is why when you see a Muslim, he says to you, Allahu wa Akbar. U in Arabic mean and, Allahu wa Akbar. You cannot say Allah and Akbar unless they are two. So Allahu Akbar are two gods, Muhammad, he merged them together to get as many as he can from the Arabian people to join him in his religion, for those are, let us say, the most important gods. And Allah himself, you see, Muhammad, he is showing his ignorance. Like, you know, if you go in the Quran, you will see the Quran speak about Baal, you know, and Muhammad, he said to the Arab, like, are you going to you know, follow Baal and forsake the best of the creators? By Muhammad, by saying that, he just confirmed that Allah is one of the creators, and he believe in that, and Baal is a creator, but he is not equal to Allah. So Muhammad don't understand who is even Baal anyway, because I believe Baal is just another name for Allah, but because it's a foreign language for him, so he could not understand what Baal is about. If you go to chapter 37 verse 125, says it clearly that Allah and Baal, both of them, they are creators, but Allah is better creator. So Muhammad, the Muslim, they try to present to us that he believe in one God. Well, obviously he don't believe in one God, because how many creators we have? Either if you believe in one God, then you have to believe that there is one creators. If you say he is the best of the creators, that's mean there is many creators, and then that's mean there is many gods. But now we have a competition. We have a better creator, we have less quality creation. It's like, you know, saying I like cars from Germany, but there's cars made in China. You know what I mean? So now we have two makers. One is German, is better than the Chinese, but that will not change the fact that both of them, they make cars. You know what I mean?
Nice analogy. I like that. I like that. Before we move on, though, I think this is a good time to bring up the satanic verses. I think that fits into the whole Mecca and Muhammad, you know, chatting to Allah and coming up with something that benefits himself. So can you just talk a little bit about the satanic verses, please?
You see, I am against using it as a word, as a title, satanic verses, because I believe all Muhammad verses are satanic verses. However, this is the one he admitted that it is from Satan. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is the one he admit that Satan he cast into his mouth, but all of it is from Satan. But if you go in chapter 22 verse number 52, it's very even the way Muhammad he speak, he have a, you know, he have a lack of intelligence. It says وما أرسلنا من قبلك من رسول ولا نبي إلا إذا تمنى ألقى الشيطان في أمنيته. We never sent a messenger before thee, but he have the same problem. When he talk, shaitan, he put in his mouth the words, and Allah will delete it. Okay, name for me, Muslims, the prophet who shaitan put in his mouth words, and then Allah he deleted. And in the same time, that will be a contradiction for the Quran, because the Quran say clearly that shaitan have no authority over the one who they are the good followers. You know, of Allah, they are protected. If you go to chapter 15 verse number 42, it says inna ibadiya laysa laka alayhim bisultan, my servants, you have no authority over them except the one who follow you from the deceived one, the bad one, the filthy one. So if Muhammad not from the deceived one and not from the filthy one, and the Quran confirm in chapter 15:42 that only this kind of people shaitan have authority over them. So how shaitan was able to throw in the mouth of Muhammad satanic verses? Additional to that, the Muslim, they say to us that Quran is unique and nobody can make Quran. Can you make Quran? Nobody can make Quran. But here we go, shaitan, he make Quran, Muhammad he accept the Quran, he recite the Quran, he bow down to the idols, and Muhammad is the last one to know. So if Muhammad received Quran of the devil, and yet he could not recognize that this is not from the devil, so how you can claim and say his Quran is made only by Allah, when the Quran confirm that shaitan make Quran too? One more thing, you know, as long the verse the one you are talking about is called satanic verses 22:52, saying that Allah will delete whatever shaitan put in the mouth of Muhammad. How we know that this verse itself is not from shaitan? You know what I mean? because it's just to make me relax, because people, they notice Muhammad is a scam. He is, in the morning he say he worship only Allah, and afternoon he is with the pagans, he is bowing to their idols, and he is saying that Allah wal Uzza wa Manat, the three daughters of Allah, their intercession is a must, and we pray to them, and he bow down to them. So people, they notice Muhammad is fake, you know, he is not what he's saying. So now
Yeah,
how we know
sure.
that this verse itself is not made by Shaitan, as long the Quran admit that Shaitan made verses and give it to Muhammad?
Yeah, you make a good point. You make a good point. Now, a counter argument that a lot of Muslims would say to people like myself is that, you know, let's say I pick up a verse from the Quran and I start, you know, criticizing it. It'd be like, you can't do that. You can't speak Arabic. It's not the true Quran. But you yourself, being a native Arabic speaker, they can't throw that argument at you, because you can speak and not just recite the Quran in Arabic, you can actually understand it as well, which is a big difference to the majority of Muslims. Now, would you say there's a difference between interpretation between someone who can speak Arabic and whatever, translate the Quran, compared to a Muslim's interpretation of the Quran?
You know, first of all, do you know what Muslim they say to me? And to you, they say to you, don't speak Arabic. For me, they don't say to me, your English is funny.
There you go.
You know, so always they will find.
They've always got an answer.
Yeah, you know, like just last week we have a Pakistani guy. He called me in my live podcast, and he was shocked because he thought I don't speak Arabic. So he was going to say to me, listen to me and listen to the Quran in Arabic. Listen to Arabic. I said, what's wrong with you? I am an Arab. What do you mean listen to it in Arabic? It's a stupid book. So yeah, so what the Muslims do, first of all, they bring somebody, he have a nice voice and he sing the Quran, and then they try to have an impact on you, or listening to a music like you know, if you bring a singer, it doesn't matter what he is singing is going to sound beautiful, because he have a beautiful voice, you know. So
yes,
if you give someone you like his voice and he is very well known, if you give him the menu of a restaurant and he sing it, trust me, it's going to sound good. You know, it's a menu, it's nothing there. And the Quran is nothing but a menu, but a bad restaurant. You cannot even understand what the Quran is trying to say, because the Quran is suffering from a flight of thought. You know, as an example, many people, they say that you know, the Quran have you know, like Meccan surahs and Medina surahs, right?
yep.
And many people believe that Meccan surahs are the one who is peaceful, and Medina surahs are the violent one. This is not really too much accurate. You know, if you have a deep knowledge in Islam, you will find that this is not true, because you will find that what is example in chapter of At-Tawbah, which is supposedly most of Muslims believe that this is happened in Medina. You will find that verses there, they are from the time of Mecca, which means the Quran is like a salad. It's not really, we cannot say these verses or those chapters are from this and this chapter, etc. But Muhammad is make it clear. If you go to chapter 9 verse number 46, it says, and if they wanted to go out to prepare for war, you know, they will, but even if they will, but Allah, he don't want them to go, because they will lose, you know. So stay with the one who stay. So the Quran tell us why Muhammad is not going for war, because he knew if he go for war right now, he will lose. He is not qualified to win a war. So people wrongly, they think that Muhammad was peaceful when he was in Mecca, and he was harmful when he was in Medina. Muhammad is Muhammad. But the whole difference is, I am weak right now and I cannot do it, so I wait until I can do it. You know, and the Quran confirm, like as an example, it says that you cry not for peace as long you are the uppermost, and this can be found in chapter 47 verse number 35. فَلَا تَهِنُوا وَلَا تَدْعُوا إِلَى السِّلْمِ وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ. Cry not for peace when you are the uppermost. So the whole idea is, when I am the uppermost, I will not go for peace. When I am not the uppermost, no problem, I go for peace, but this is temporarily. And that is the mentality of Muhammad. Now the interpretation of the Quran is different story, because Muslims themselves, they cannot accept each other interpretation. This is why the Muslims, when they finish an article or trying to make a book about Islam, or to give interpretation for the Quran, they say at the end, Allah knows best. Allah knows best as a statement is just like disclaimer, you know what I mean? So you don't kill me.
Yeah.
Like because he will know right away. There's some people they might even seeking killing him for what he said. So even the scholar, in order to protect himself by disclaimer insurance, he says Allah knows best. So they say to him, how you say that? This doesn't mean that, etc. They say to him, do you see? I told you Allah knows best. You know, and then you will find that the Muslims agree about not to agree about what the verse mean, and this is the only agreement they have. And the reason for that, the Quran was not really in Arabic. The Quran never was in Arabic. The Quran was an Aramaic book, and what we have today is the converted version of the Aramaic book. And this is why you will see the Muslims, they are so confused about understanding tons of verses in the Quran, because simply this is not an Arabic book. And then when they try to explain it, then they start guessing, what does that mean? You know?
Okay, I got a quick question for you then. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Uthman, a third rightly guided caliph, he was the one who got rid of all the other versions of the Quran. Or he wanted to have one text to learn Islam from, essentially, and everything else he just wanted to burn and get rid of. So there was just one book to go to. So he didn't want the controversy that was associated with the different Christian Bibles and the different chapters there. How did he go about compiling that then? And what was there a lot lost? Like, what did Uthman actually do?
You see, what we have a story about Uthman, I believe, is not too much true, because we don't have a book of Uthman. Do Muslims have the book of Uthman? They don't.
Yeah.
So how we can be sure that Uthman, he made this book we have, or the Muslim they print in Saudi Arabia? And there's many versions of the Quran exist right now. As an example, if you go to Morocco, the Quran is different from the Morocco from the Saudi one. When the Saudi get the oil, they start printing a version they accept to be the version of Uthman book, but nobody have the Uthman book. So speaking too much about Uthman, there's no proof of it that Uthman book is exist. Secondly, Uthman, according to Muslims, he burned the Quran, as you said, because obviously those other Qurans are different, and that will raise many questions why they are different. And who is Uthman? Who gave the authority to Uthman even to do so? You know, the Muslim, they get angry from a person who burned the Quran when the first one who burned the Quran was their caliph.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Which doesn't make sense. But the Quran says that the one who will collect the Quran is Allah. You know, it's not Uthman, it's not even Muhammad. This is why in the beginning, like there's a statement that says, we fought them for collecting it, for writing it, and we fought them for preserving it, which means it was not really Muhammad did not say that to write the Quran, did not say that. In chapter 75, verse number 17, it says, Inna alayna jam'uhu wa Qur'anahu. It is on us to collect the Quran and to recite the Quran. So Muslims, for them, it's not their duty to collect the Quran. Same time, what is the Quran of Muhammad? Why we need even the Quran of Uthman? You know, because remember, Uthman, he's just like he's a companion of Muhammad, and there is no way that Muhammad he have a book and then the Muslims don't have it. I mean, okay, you say to us that the Christians corrupted their book. You could not preserve the book of your prophet for a few years after his death. You know what I mean? There's tons of places speaking about Muhammad. He have Quran. As an example, in the Hadith, Aisha, she said that when Muhammad he passed away or died from poison, a goat or a sheep came inside the house and grabbed the Quran from under the bed of Muhammad or the pillow of Muhammad, and she ate the Quran. And this can be found in Sunan Ibn Majah. So the goat who ate the Quran, how the goat can eat the Quran if there's no Quran?
Hold on here. It just right. Muhammad's death. First of all, I'm not too familiar with that. Of course, as you just said, he got poisoned. So I'd love to talk about that a little bit. But a goat ate the only copy of the Quran after his death? That sounds crazy.
This is what Aisha she said. You know, it says the verse of stoning. I'm reading for you the Islamic translation, not my translation. For me, I read Arabic. I don't care for the translation, but I will use their own just to show the Muslims that this is how it is. The verse says it clearly. Let us put it in the screen for those who are watching so they can see with us. The verse of stoning and the breastfeeding for adult 10 times was revealed, and the paper was with me. Actually, it doesn't say paper. This is called sahifa. Sahifa is like sheets. Was under my pillow. When the messenger of Allah died, we were preoccupied with his death, and a tame sheep came and ate it. That's it. You know. So now we have, based on this story, a goat who ate the Quran. If not all of it, Aisha here is mentioning 2 chapters or 2 stories. The verse is about breastfeeding for adult, and maybe you do not know about this. Muhammad, he ordered them from the Quran that Muslim women, she can give her breast to feed an adult who is a stranger. And the breastfeeding, by the way, here is not about drinking milk, because women, they don't have milk always. You know, I mean, all of us, we knew women, they have milk only when they give birth. You know, a woman is not a cow and she have a faucet, you open her nipples and she have milk. So a woman, she is not really even too much young. I mean, she is she don't have babies, and this is why even they adopted a child or a person. When Muhammad she came to Muhammad to complain about her husband is jealous from this man because he look at her. Muhammad, he says, give him your breast, let him suckle it. So this is not about milk, have nothing to do with milk, and this is a breastfeeding for adult, which means it's just sucking the nipples of women. And we do not know how in the world, if a man having dirty look at a woman in a sexual way, if a woman, she gave her nipples to him, that will stop him, that will make him go crazy more. But this is the logic of Muhammad, and obviously he's making fun of them. You know, whatever Muhammad he says, they take it, they accept it, they practice it. You know, there's no let us say there's no logic in the logic.
That's a great expression. Yeah. Now, you were saying there before that one of the chapters that the goat ate was talking about men breastfeeding. There's a lot of allusion towards sexual activity in the Islamic scriptures, isn't there?
Well, you know, all of Islam is based on money and sex. So, like, if you go to heaven, what you will get? Muhammad, he described your house as a brick of gold.
Loads of virgins. Yeah, houses as well. I didn't know this.
Yeah, but everything starting from the second you enter. First of all, Allah will make you white, because no black people are allowed to enter heaven. Everybody have to be white. Oh yeah, everyone have to be white. You know, if in the Quran you see Muhammad, he was so clear, and the Muslim, they try to fool people about those verses. So Muhammad, he said that in the day of judgment, chapter 3 verse 106, يوم تبيض وجوه وتسود وجوه, the day the faces will turn white and the faces will turn black. The Muslim, they try to make it as the day they will be, faces will be happy and faces will be sad. This doesn't say that. If you go to Ibn Kathir, you go to the scholars, you go to interpretation, especially the oldest one, you see that it says it clearly that there's a beast, his name is a Jassasa. If we go to chapter of An-Naml, verse number 82, it says that this beast, a Jassasa, is going to come from the ground, and she will hit the believer and the disbeliever by the stick of Moses and the ring of Solomon, and the believer will turn totally white and the disbeliever will turn totally black. So it's literally about being black and being white. And Allah, and not only that, when people, before they enter paradise, people, they sit together, and then right away they will not notice who is a Muslim, who is not. How? Because he's white. So when you see a black person, that means he is a bad person, he is a disbeliever. And when you see a white person, that means he's a good Muslim, he's a Muslim. So Islam is extremely racist religion. As an example, Muhammad, he says, وَقْتُلُوا كُلَّ أَسْوَدٍ بَهِيمٍ, kill any black animal, pure black animal. And he said, when they asked him about why he ordered to kill black dogs, as an example, he said the black dog is the devil. Now I challenge any Muslim to tell me why the black dog is the devil. Now about sex, we did not cover the point of sex. So racism about being white, this is why Muhammad, he promised the Muslim men very white women to the point you can see their bones. And he promised them that you will have gold and silver in the heaven. Even your house will be 1 brick of gold, 1 brick of silver, and the land will be from rubies, and your house will be made from pearls. Then the virgins, and those virgins simply they are sexually made for the purpose of one purpose, which is sex. But I find the story is very stupid because additional that it is a fiction, and but imagine all women, imagine somebody, he came to your door now in earth, and he delivered to you, delivery, shipping coming from Hong Kong, and he opened the container and you find 70 women or 80,000 women, but all of them, they have one name and they have the same eyes and they have the same look. So what the point?
That's a good point, isn't it?
I mean, all of them, they look the same. They all of them, they have a name, Hur. They don't have names. Their name is Hur. All of them, they have the same face, the same eyes. All of them, they have black eyes and etc. All of them, they have the same shape. All of them in one age. All of them in even the breast size is the same, exactly copy paste. So what the point of having sex with all those women is all of them are the same women. Imagine you have one wife and God, he copied for you 10 of her. I mean, what the point?
Yeah.
That
makes no sense. I never knew that.
It's a madness. Islam is a religion of stupidity, and the more you are stupid, the more you believe in it.
Yeah, indeed. So back to sex, Islam. I suppose, forget sex, masturbation. There's a lot of rules and guidelines as to how to masturbate within Islam, isn't there?
Well, the Muslims, they have a lot of weird stuff. As an example, you can masturbate with watermelon. You can
try it later.
Yeah, I do not need to give reference. Anyone is listening, he can just go and type right now, Islam, sex with watermelon, or sex with dog, or sex with the statues, or sex with the even Muslim women, they can do masturbation, like they can use a cut off penis, or they can use a crimbage, which is a piece of leather round as a sex toy. So obviously the Muslims, they have sex toys long before anyone have them, before Playboy. Even actually Muhammad, he mentioned that in the heaven of Allah there is a market, and this market have no buying nor selling except pictures. And if a believer man, he like the image, he enter it and he will have sex with it. So even Playboy magazine was created before Muhammad, long before the Playboy magazine in America. No?
Wow. Now, why watermelons? Is there some kind of law forbidding you from using your hands? Is that frowned upon?
Well, you see, the Muslim, they have an idea that there is no shame in religion. This is why if you watch Islamic TV, it's kind of like a comedy. I remember once a Muslim woman, she called the TV, and she said, obviously she is, excuse my language, obviously she is a whore, and she is making fun of those two guys, the scholars, the sheikhs in the TV, because she make them sweat. She's talking in a very horny way, and then she starts saying, when I take off my clothes, the fish, they start shaking. And then the sheikh, he drank the water like if he's thirsty for 10 years. He is really sweating, and obviously she made him excited. And then he said to her, sister, obviously those fish, they have a genie and they are looking at your beautiful pure body, so I advise you not to take off your clothes in the front of the fish tank. So she said, but this is the only room I have, what I can do. Then the sheikh, he said, well, in this case you better cover it by a blanket. So sexuality in Islam is about everything, because imagine even fish is going to masturbate when she see a Muslimah. So the fish is shaking in the fish tank because she is taking off her clothes. Muslims believe even that their women, they cheat on them by having sex with the genie, but they don't consider it as a cheating because they knew it is the genie is powerful and he can do that. So once a guy, he called the TV station, he said once he opened the door and he found his wife doing something, and so he's asking the sheikh what he should do. He said, obviously your wife, she is having an affair with the genie. The best way to get rid of him is to read Quran. Read Quran.
That's nuts, isn't it? Now, look, what's the logic behind Muslim women wearing burqas and things along those lines? Because, you know, I've kind of understand it in my head, but I've kind of a little bit confused, let's say. Is it to stop the men from just being over sexually compulsed, if that's even a word, to go on, you know, have sex with them? Or is it to kind of like prevent the women from molesting the men? Like, what's the deal? It's to stop men from being sexually attracted to women and just going crazy?
Well, you know, Muhammad, he made an image for the women uh, uh, as a devil. Muhammad, he said literally that the women she come, yeah, this is how he said. He said the women she come, she advance and retires in the shape of the devil. So one of you sees a woman, he should come to his wife, and for, you know, that will reveal what is in his heart. So Muhammad, he told them clearly that all women are shaitan. Just by seeing a woman, you are seeing a shaitan. So no matter what you do, you are going to be excited by looking at the women.
That's what it is.
And Muhammad, he mentioned that women, they have many awra. Awra in Arabic, it is something shame to show. You should not expose in public. But you see, the awra we know usually, it's like your private part, you know, or the women breast for a woman, you know, like to show, reveal things should not be revealed. But in Islam, all the women is a awra. Muhammad, he says the women, when she get married, she cover only one awra, which means she secure one part, that is her vagina. And when she die, she cover all. So she is awra, all of her. You know, she have 10 awra. Her voice is awra, her face is awra, her hands is awra. All of them, they are private part. And when she get married, she cover only one awra. When she dies, she cover them all. So the only way for a woman to be, you know, for her private part is not going to be exposed is death. But Muhammad, the funny, you know, the hypocrisy about Muhammad, when he said that the women she come and retire in the shape of a devil, then we need to ask ourselves, if the woman is a devil, she come in a shape of a devil, and she live in the image of the devil, why Muhammad he have 13 devils at home? They are wives, and God knows how many hundreds of sex slaves, if they are devils. Why he want to have from them as much as he can?
Indeed, it's like it's void of logic, Islam, huh? It's like they throw out all these things, and if you actually start investigating, going deep, just the mathematics behind it, you know, the calculations, it just doesn't add up. It makes no sense.
You know, if you want to talk about sense in Islam, nothing makes sense. Like, what sense when Muhammad he says that Allah will make the penis of the Muslim man endless? I mean, imagine a man he have an endless penis. What he can do with it? Imagine you have a woman next to you, but your penis is in different galaxy, and what you would do, you will call him to come back, make a U-turn, you know. So all the stories Muhammad he come with is kind of madness, and to speak about make sense, that is the last thing, you know. It's like you are making a what they call it, the dark comedy, like Muhammad and sense, like what it makes sense that you will have an orgasm of 70 years, you know.
It's pretty much your life, huh?
Yeah, like, you know, you go to visit Muhammad, you know, you knock at the door, you know, Muhammad is having orgasm, you can hear him. So you come next year. Next year you come, you know, you go around the world and you come back, and then you knock at the door, Muhammad is still have orgasm. You come next year, the year after, and the year after, and the year after, and Muhammad is still having orgasm. You go and you swim, and you make a you visit Hong Kong, you visit Philippines, you visit Japan, you visit Sydney, you come back, Muhammad is still having orgasm. I mean, how in the world we can speak about logic when it's come to this man?
It's true. It's amazing he had time for anything else.
Yeah. You know, well, Muslims, you know, always Muslims, when they hear things which is really obviously stupid, right away they will say to you, those hadith are weak. Anything you say to them, it's weak. It's weak. Now, if we say to the Muslims, what is logic in the Quran to describe for us the boobs of the women? Hadith is weak. Anything we say is weak. Is the Quran is weak? Why we need to know the size of the women boobs in the Quran? What is exactly the point of that? Obviously, but you know, all of Islam is a mad religion. What kind of God you want to promise me that in the heaven I'm going to have a bracelet? I can go to the mall right now and I can get 10 of them. I mean, what bracelet? And what the point of a promise me? I will have a couch. You know, come here.
These are the incentives. These are the incentives. Yeah. So if you die, go to heaven.
Yeah, I mean,
get a bracelet and a nice couch.
So those, you know, you go to heaven and then you find there a couch. I mean, that's it.
That's it. Yeah,
come here in America, you know, drive it through like during the day, or they collect garbage, and you will see how many couches in the street, and they are new. You put TV, you put TV here in the street, nobody take it. Big screen TV. So, you know, couches, bracelet, pillows. I mean, pillows. Allah, He promising me pillow. You know, so the promises, obviously, they are made for those Arab who they are poor, Bedouin. They dream to have this because this for them, this is a fantasy. This is something they never saw before. So now He is promising me a garden and have a grape. Believe it, a grape. We will eat a grape in the heaven, and you will have clear water. Yeah, clear water.
Bananas as well as a big incentive.
Yeah, and even the water is clear because finally, you know, those people, they suffer from the from drinking water because most of it, it's because they don't have springs of water, you know. So the water is salty, you know. If you I don't know if you've been in Saudi Arabia or any in the Gulf countries, water there, even if you find it, it is not healthy. It is salty. This is why you see in countries like Saudi Arabia, when they build, you will see a Saudi guy, he built a nice villa, and then after 10 years the villa is coming down apart. Why? Because the sand is full of salt. The concrete is full of salt, and they cannot get rid of it. The water itself is full of salt. So when you build concrete or you build a building and the building contain a lot of salt, that's mean the concrete is weak because salt is salt, you know. So He promised them clear water. Finally, we will have a clean water. He promised them that you will not have heat, you know. Well, this is a promise you make for somebody live in Saudi Arabia, but somebody live in Alaska. If you say to him, I will give you a heaven, or even you in England, like, you know, most of the year you have the sun is not there. So imagine, I promise you, you will go to heaven, and this heaven have always rain. I mean, or you will never see the sun, or you will never have heat. I mean, this is people, they pay money to go and lay down under the sun in many places. You know, they have fake machines to get that. So the promises is made for a Bedouin man who live in the desert, fit with his mentality. And this mentality is, they like, as an example, the Arab, they love to drink. They are drunken nation. So Muhammad, he promised them rivers of wine, not a cup of wine, rivers. And then they like honey, so river of honey. They like milk, river of milk, you know. So all those rivers are just to satisfy the needs of a Bedouin man. If the followers of Muhammad are from Germany, Muhammad, he will add a river of beer.
yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. And some bratwurst as well. A nice sausage for the Germans.
Yeah, and some hamburger too, and shish kebab.
Very nice, very nice. Look, I tried to interrupt you twice on that. I said a but and a but and a but, and then my question has gone. So that's annoying. But I still want to discuss this topic, which is free will within Islam. Can you discuss that a little bit, please?
Well, in Islam, there is no nothing is called a free will. You see, the Islam is, all of it is about based on something is called al-qadar. The Muslim, he cannot be a Muslim if you don't believe in al-qadar, which means destiny. All the Quran is based on this. As an example, Muhammad, he make it so clear that when a person, before he is born, Allah, he write his destiny many years before he come to existence. As an example, there's a story in the hadith about Moses and Adam. They have a debate, they have an argument. Moses said to Adam, let me put it in the screen so people, they can see it. Moses says to Adam, because of you we are out of paradise. So Moses, he said to Adam, he said to Moses, do you blame me uh, uh, for something Allah He wrote for me in my destiny 40 years before He created me? So even the sin of Adam was not a choice for Adam. And Muhammad, he says, and this is how Adam was able to overcome Musa's argument. So the correct answer is the sin of Adam was not his choice. It was written for him 40 years before his creation. And this is the hadith in front of us for those who they are seeking reference in YouTube. 40 years before the creation of Adam, Adam, he commit, Allah, he wrote for him his sin, and it says there, are you going to blame me for which Allah had ordained for me 40 years before my creation? So which is very stupid, by the way, because if Adam, he commits sin and that was the plan of Allah, and Allah is the one who wrote the sin for him as a destiny, so why Allah, he punish Adam and kick him out of heaven? It doesn't make sense. But as we said, nothing in Islam makes sense. And the same for everything. Muhammad, he said that one of you will do the work of people of heaven until there is a distance of a cubit between him and the gate of heaven, and then what is written by Allah will take over, and he will start doing the act of people of hellfire, and he will go to hellfire. And then he said vice versa, when a person, if you're doing the act of hellfire, and then what is written all his life, the deed of hellfire, and then what is written by Allah will take over, and then he will start doing the deeds of paradise, and then he enter paradise. So going to hell, going to paradise is not really based on your deeds. Muhammad, he make it so clear. It is based in what Allah, he wrote for you as a destiny, which means you convert to Islam, you don't convert to Islam, it's a stupid idea, because it is written for you already where you will go. One more thing, just to make it more clear. There is a story of a child who died, and Aisha, she said to Muhammad, there is there is a paradise for this child, for he is a bird from the birds of paradise. I mean, this guy, he's just an infant, he died, and he will be in heaven. So Muhammad, he rebuked her, and he said to her, don't say that, for Allah, he created for heaven who is for heaven, and who is for hell, who is for hell, before he created them. So which means here sin have nothing to do with going to hell and heaven. Are you getting my idea, Ben? He's an infant, he's a child. Aisha, she said it clearly that this child, he did not even reach the age of committing sin. But Muhammad is still did not like what she said, that he guaranteed to go to heaven, for he, Allah, he decided, he wrote his destiny before he created him. So the idea of Islam is a full of contradiction, as we said before. In one place says that if you commit sin, you go to hell. If you obey Allah, you go to hell, blah 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 blah. And then here we see a child who is a son of a Muslim family, and yet he will not go to heaven guaranteed, because Allah, he wrote before he created him if he will go to heaven or he will go to hell, but yet he have no sin. In the Bible we find the opposite. Jesus said, if you don't become like those, the little ones, you will not enter the heaven. So which means the children are going to go to heaven. Muhammad, he have a totally different idea, that heaven have nothing to do with your deeds. However, by the way, in different places he contradict himself. He speak of deeds, like the Quran says, those who do good deeds, etc., 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 paradise for them. Here we find the opposite. And this is
I've
what
got
Islam
a quick
is
question,
about.
and can you just see if I got the right end of the stick with this? So if there's no free will within Islam and Allah's already got everything planned out for you, people who then go and do horrible terrorist atrocities and go murder people in the name of Islam and actually get away, not get away, but actually do commit murder people for their fellow Muslims, do they think, well, because he actually achieved this attack, it was the will of God and he did God's asking, and then how can I judge him because this is what God wanted? Is that correct?
I don't know if you watch any videos of ISIS with the translation, but in Arabic they say in chapter 8 verse number 17, you did not kill them, but Allah is the one who killed them. وَمَا رَمَيْتُ إِذْ رَمَيْتُ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ رَمَى. I did not shoot my arrow, it was the arrow of Allah. So when the Muslim, he taught in the Quran, and this is Quranic verse, this is not a hadith. When Allah, he told them, it's, yes, it is you, you hold the sword, it's you who killed them, but in fact it's not you who killed them, it is Allah. It is not you who shoot, it is Allah. And the verses in the front of those who want to read from the Muslims, in case they are listening. You see, we don't say things without proof and reference, and we make it clear for everybody. So you did not slow them, it was Allah who did slew them. And you did not shoot, it was Allah who shoot. So what is left of the crime? Nothing. It is Allah who did it. And but when it's about a crime, you see, the Muslim, they have two sections. Crime is to kill a Muslim. But it is not a crime to kill non-Muslims. The Muslim, they lie to us. They say the Quran says if a person killed an innocent man as if he killed all mankind. That verse is about killing a believer.
Okay.
Yeah, they lie to you because they don't know Arabic, and you do not know that you don't have a good knowledge in Islam. So they quote always, even Obama, he was quoting for us this verse, but this verse is not about killing non-Muslims, because Muhammad, all his Quran, chapter 9 verse 29, there's many verses clearly saying go and fight those who don't believe in Allah and don't believe in Muhammad and last day, etc., from the Christian and the Jews. That's the reason why, because they don't believe in Allah. And Muhammad, he sent the 3 letters to 3 kings saying convert or else. Aslam taslam. You wanna be safe, convert. And here we see that Allah is saying to them, it's not you who slew them, it is Allah. It's not you who shoot your arrow, it was Allah. This is why when a terrorist he shoot at you, you know, like in the field, we see in the video, he say وَمَا رَمَيْتُ وَإِنَّمَا اللَّهَ رَمَى. وَمَا رَمَيْتُ. It is Allah who, it's not me who shoot, it's Allah who's shooting. So the Muslims are convinced, based on their religion and the Quran, that when they shoot, it's Allah shooting. When they kill.
So how? Just a quick question then. So how, if you're a devout Muslim, someone who follows Islam, and you know you believe it with all your heart, can you criticize the actions of ISIS?
You know, as a Muslim, you cannot criticize anything. Islam is about, you see, the Muslim, many people, they say Islam means submission. That's absolutely false. Islam means you surrender. So the second you start questioning, you are an apostate. You cannot,
really? You start questioning, you're an apostate straight away.
You see, all the verses of killing in Islam is about apostasy. You know, like some naive ones, like you have a guy, his name, I forgot what his name. Somebody tell me, guys. The guy in England, he have a show. Is Nawaz?
Majid Nawaz.
Yeah. In his show, he said that you know, Islam says there is no compulsion in religion, etc. But this verse is not about really what this idiot is saying. This verse is saying that Muhammad, he heard the news that the Jews, they are not allowing their children to believe in Islam. So Muhammad, he said to them, you cannot force your children not to convert to Islam, but Muhammad, he will kill them if they will leave Islam. And if you go you know, in the Quran, you will find it clearly that the Quran is speaking, that's with no doubt, that you have to do jihad against anyone who question the authority of the Prophet and the question the authority of Allah. So when a person, he's, you know, he speak to us about Islam is not forcing you to convert or not forcing you to believe or you can leave Islam, that is a false statement and have nothing to do with the truth. All the words of Islam is about apostasy, and there's something people do not notice, that the Muslim believe that every person is born as a Muslim. Muhammad, he taught his followers, I don't know if you heard this before, the Muslims, everybody, you and me, the Hindus, the Buddhas, everybody is born as a Muslim. And then his family,
they use the expression of revert to Islam, don't they? Not convert, you're reverting because you're already Muslim.
Right. This is why they say the word revert, because simply you used to be a Muslim, but your family made you Christian or a Jew or a Hindu or a Buddha. So everyone is born a Muslim, but he leave, you know, the religion, and because of that, so he have to be killed. So all the war, as an example, if you go to chapter 9 verse number 73, it says Ya ayyuhan nabi jahid al-kuffara wal-munafiqin. So the Muslim, they translate, they say, oh prophet, do jihad against the kuffar. We know who is the kuffar, those who refuse to believe in Muhammad as a prophet. Okay, who is the munafiqin? Those are the apostate. So when somebody like this guy Nawaz, he said there's in Islam, there's in the Quran, there's no verses speaking about killing apostate. He's speaking his ignorance. So fight those who they are kuffar and those who they are ex-Muslims, the apostate. Now who is the ex-Muslim? All of us, including the Muslim who leave Islam today, or the one who is born as a Muslim, but they they decide to leave Islam later. So all the killing in Islam is a killing of an apostate. Mistakenly, people think that when jihad is carried on, is jihad against someone, he is a Christian only. The fact those for the Muslims, he is not a Christian, he is an apostate.
Of course, we're all apostates, as we've all left.
Everybody is
not, it was a a conscious choice. We've all left Islam.
Yes, this is all, and there's no question. There is always, the problem is when you try to reach out to knowledge and you don't speak Arabic and you don't have a good knowledge. Even if you speak Arabic, is not enough really to get the clear meaning, because you have to study hard, you have to research, you have to find things, you have to connect the dots together. Studying Islam is the same as an investigator trying to find who did the crime, because the Quran is like imagine I give you some rice, and then I give you 1 gallon of sand, and then I say to you, okay, this is the sand and this is the rice, and I mix them together, and then find out which is sand and which is rice. So you have to spend a lot of time trying to find out where we can find the rice and where is the sand. In Islam there's a lot of sand, which will make you confused. Verses are not connected. The Quran verses have nothing to do with each other most of the time. The Quran author is suffering from flight of thoughts, and this is why you see suddenly one verse he's talking about the flying carpet, the second verse is talking about something else. So there is no connection between them. However, if you go as an example to chapter 9 verse number 73 and verse number 74, those two verses are very much connected and they explain each other. Muhammad, he have to do jihad against the unbelievers and against the hypocrites, and do jihad against them. And then verse number 74 explain who are those the munafiqeen. It says those who they are after leaving Islam, they left Islam. So a person who do not know, he will tell you there's not even a single verse in the Quran speaking of that. But all of us, we knew there is a war, it's called the war of apostate, and this war happened right away after Muhammad's death, and the one who carried it is Abu Bakr. So was Abu Bakr not a good believer? There's no Muslim will dare to say no, except if he's a Shia. So apostasy war exist from the time of Muhammad. For all the wars of Islam is the wars of apostasy. The Muslim, they say to you, we are born with fitra. What is fitra? Fitra is to be a Muslim. You are born as a Muslim.
Now, look, just to focus on this a little bit, you were talking about, wars and stuff like that. You've got what? Dar Salam and then Dar Harb, yeah, which is the land of, land of Islam, and then the land of war. Now, any place that's not run under Islamic, the Sharia law is the Dar Harb, yeah, so the land of war. What do you feel, if that's the case, if that's how they look at us, how do you feel about the rise of Islam in Western countries?
I believe the rise of Islam, if we can use that term, exists because of the Western ignorance. You see, the Western, they sponsor Islam for a long time, and until now they are doing that. If you go in any media TV stations, like just last week I saw a news about UK police promoting Islam in a video. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, how do you do that? I mean, it's a madness. So we don't want to speak about the rise of Islam. We want to speak about the rise of the stupidity in the West. Islam.
Oh, wow.
I'm honest with you.
Put.
I'm honest with you. There is no place for Islam in the West unless there is a stupid people in the West, and this is what we are suffering from. We have a lot of stupid, ignorant people who have no idea what they are doing. They are bringing the devil to their houses, and they are seeking destruction of their own countries. Otherwise, Islam have no place anywhere. You know, go to Saudi Arabia. Where is Islam? Even in Saudi Arabia, terrorists have no place. So how come they can find a place in England? I just saw in the news that 454 fighters of ISIS right now as we speak, they came back from Syria to England. How you allowed them to get in? 400.
We don't think twice.
Yeah, almost 500 fighters who they are trained for years how to make bombs. You know, you will have fun. You will have a lot of fun in England soon. So 500 people you allowed them to get in. How this happened? Where is the intelligence? Where is the police? Where is the government? Where is, obviously the West is suffering from big problem. Islam is not the problem. The problem is the Western who have no idea what they are doing. You see, like imagine you bring me a cobra in a box, and you say to me, don't open the box, there's a cobra there. All right, and then I open the cobra box and I give her a name, and I think it's a bet. It's a cute. It's a cobra. You know, the cobra is a cobra, and this is exactly what the Western are doing to themselves. So I don't want to play in the Muslims and the rise of Islam. I don't believe there's something that's called the rise of Islam. But what happened, you see, the atheism attacked Christianity for the last centuries in Europe. So Western, they became empty, and the believers are, you know, not many. So Islam found, you know, and like you grow in a family, and then you start searching around you and looking around you, and if somebody want to believe in a religion, what is the religion is available? The atheist, they fought Christianity and they will not even allow it to breathe. They find only one place where nobody stopped that religion. It's called Islam. So the atheists, they were only attacking Christianity. Like lately, some atheists, they start speaking against Islam lately. Few of them, but for all the time, for the last 40-50 years, nobody spoke one word against Islam. And this is why we are here, why I am doing what I am doing, because I found that somebody have to do the dirty job, you know, to clean the garbage.
Indeed. Well, look, you're doing a great job doing so. Why do you think after the 9/11 attacks, then it was George Bush coming out and referring to Islam as the religion of peace and all of this? Why was this narrative put into the mainstream when it was obviously quite apparent that these guys are here to cause us harm?
You know, as I said, you know, the West is suffering from a stupidity, not from intelligence. You know, like, you know, not only this. Each time the Muslim they attack you, like lately they stop doing that. But if you notice, in the last almost 10 years. Each time the Muslim they do an attack, one of our prime minister or president, doesn't matter what country in the West, like all the way from Australia to Canada to USA to England, right away you will see the prime minister, the minister, the foreign minister, voluntarily he says Islam means peace. I mean, like even Obama, each time they attack, he said, do you remember the crusade? The crusade is the best thing happened to the European, because if not the crusade, all of Europe will be Muslims long time ago. It was the crusade who stopped the Muslims. People don't want to see the truth that the crusade, they taught them in schools that the crusade are bad, they are criminals, they are disgusting. The crusade is the one who saved Europe, and this is the truth. You know, ask yourself, how come for the first 6 centuries after Jesus we never have a crusade? We never have a crusade. We have a crusade only after the Muslims attacked us. So the Muslim attacked us, and then when you attack back, you are the bad. I never heard of anyone speaking about the attack of the Muslims, but they speak against the crusade. And this is telling you that the mentality in the West was one-sided, run by the liberals who tried to put Christianity down. So what they have, what we can say about Christ, we cannot say much really. Christ did not do something bad. So now let us find something. It's the crusade. But the fact what the crusade was the best thing that the European they did in their history. Now for sure there's mistakes, and it's a war, there's always bad and good, but the crusade is what saved Europe to be Europe. And now because the Muslims, they don't face a crusade no more. They face a bunch of ignorant who have no idea what Islam is about. They've been taught nothing about it. And not only this, the media, the prime minister, the president, he keeps saying Islam is a wonderful religion. Muhammad was a peaceful man. Islam means peace. So, and even you see a church priest, is come back. He invite Muslim to teach children, Christian children, how to pray to Allah.
Yeah, I've seen that a few times. It's horrible.
Yeah,
We've
I mean,
got proper English churches populated with old English white, you know, it doesn't matter their race, but still stereotypical English people.
Yeah.
And then you've got an Arab at the top singing the songs from the Quran. It's like, what are you doing here? Because not for a second would you know, an imam allow a Christian to come in and recite the Lord's Prayer in the mosque.
You see, this is why I was saying even those who call themselves Christians are siding with the devil. So the problem for me, I don't see it. It is Islam. It is the stupidity in the West, and we need to find ignorance. You know, the Bible says, "My nation been destroyed because of their ignorance." And when you are ignorant, anything can destroy you. You know, anything.
Damn right. Predictions for the future, my friend. What do you think Europe's going to look like? You know, even North America, could say Australia as well, if you include the Western world. If it continues like this over the next 15, 20, 30 years, how do you think society is going to change?
I believe Europe is going to suffer a civil war in 30, 40 years, not only necessarily because of Muslims, but because you have, you know, soon you will have more immigrant than citizen, and then that will make you feel as a minority, and you will feel unjust, and then there's many people will bear arms and they will go for war, and it's a you know, the European countries are seeking destruction of their own land. Like just last week, I saw a study that in the city of Stuttgart in Germany, the German, they are the minority now. You know, the first time in their history, the German people in Stuttgart, they are. So imagine you live in a city, and this is your city of your grandfather and grandfather, and then suddenly you are a minority, and the second you turn to be a minority, that is the turning point where you are going to lose everything. Because, you know, don't you believe in democracy? Okay, democracy, the majority, they will win. As simple as that. You know, this is democracy.
Indeed. Yeah. Well, I see it in person. There's a very famous place in London called Camden Market. It's just North London. It's a cool, eclectic place that people come to and have fun. And the last time I was in there, I played this little game, and, you know, once again, pardon the expression, but it's just the lack of indigenous people around were crazy. I said, spot the white guy, and I was driving for about 3 or 4 minutes. In fact, that's a lie. I parked up, I was driving. And it's not even about the white people, it's the fact that it's the dress as well. You know, if it was just loads of different races dressed in suits, or maybe, you know, a pair of jeans and a shirt with a paper and whatever, I wouldn't even blink twice. It's the fact that they look more kind of at home on a Star Wars planet, really, than in, you know, in North London. And it's very odd to see, and it's crazy. And you're walking through your hometown, you know, the capital of your own country, and just thinking, what is happening here? Go to Wembley. It's the same thing. In Wembley, it's just like you're in the Middle East. It's nuts to witness.
Yeah, it's a backstand. This is a backstand. They have nothing to do with even Middle East. Even because Middle East, we don't have those people you have there. You know, and you see, I noticed. I've been in England. I noticed that the English government, they welcome. The more you are into terrorism, the more you are welcome. If you see any terrorist who is wanted in his country, he always go and seek refuge in England, and that will make what will make me always question the legitimacy of the British intelligence and the government. I mean, what is the point of hosting those terrorists? They knew they are terrorists. Like, as an example, Abu Qatada is wanted for a long time in Jordan, wanted in Lebanon. What his name? Anjem Shawadri. All of them, every one of them is wanted somewhere. So why you are bringing them to your country? That is a question. The British citizen, they should actually, if I am a citizen in England, I'm going to make a case against the government, you know, and I'm going to bring to justice those who allowed those people to have their citizenship. Not only they give them refugees as asylum, they give them salary, because the second you accept him as a refugee, you get him apartment, you get him. I remember when I was in England, I was you know, studying. A Muslim guy, he said to me, I was looking for an apartment to rent. He said to me, "You can rent my apartment." I look at him, this guy, he don't look like he's wealthy. He said, "You have an apartment?" He said, "Well, you know, I'm a refugee." So But don't you use it? He said, none of us use his apartment. So what they do, they like 4 or 5 of them, they sit in one apartment, and that apartment is given by the government too, and then they rent out the apartment which is given by the government.
Yeah,
they pay no tax.
indeed.
They have a free housing, free electricity, free water, tax free, and then they work, the one who work in restaurant, the one who work as a taxi driver, but nobody pay tax. In a few years, this guy, he will be rich and he will be poor, because simply you pay a lot of tax. He don't do pay. He not only he don't pay, he get paid. He have a free housing, he have a free insurance, he have a free education, he have everything is free. So the system in England is very stupid, and somebody, the English people, they have to make kind of a revolution against the government stupidity and change it and make everything change. I like some European leaders in Europe, like the president of Czechoslovakia, the president of Hungary, and you know, like those people, they are really firm and they are sure. Not Poland, they will not accept people to come to their countries, and this is the smart way. You know, I'm not against. You see, me myself, I'm an immigrant myself, right? Me myself, I'm an immigrant, but you don't be stupid. I mean, there's a limitation. You know, there's a limitation.
Indeed.
And if you, even if you, all the countries in the world, if they welcome immigrant, they welcome the quality, doctors, engineers, educated people.
Precisely, yeah.
But they are bringing people, they come from in the boat, nobody knows where they are coming from and what they are doing and how many crimes they did before they come. You have no idea. They throw their papers in the ocean and they come to you.
Yeah. No, it impacts on so many different people's lifestyles. You know, I was once, well, it's actually a courier, so a person who does deliveries, yeah? Englishman. I started talking to him, so have you always done this? He's like, no, I used to be a painter decorator. I was like, what happened there? He goes, I used to charge 150 quid a day. Then loads of immigrants came over and they had no idea about any skills when it comes to that. They would charge £60 a day, totally undercut my labor costs, and eventually I would get no work whatsoever. The only work I would ever get is to be called in to sort out the bad work that the cheaper labor has done. So what's happened in England is that we've had loads of immigrants come over from Eastern Europe, so that the Poles, the Hungarians, the Romanians, they've seen what's happened with Islamic migration into this country as well, and that's why they're going home and saying, no, we do not want this in our country. We will see what's happened in England, and it's no good, so we are not entertaining this in our homelands whatsoever.
Good for them. You see, actually, this is why I'm saying there's a change is happening, and I hope the change will happen very soon, and people, they will be, they will awake, and people like you, they will be more knowledgeable about what this cult is about. And the problem with this religion is not about like they want to convert you. This is the first step, but then later they will force you to do things. They will force you what to eat, what to drink, what to say, what to say, what to wear. They will force you. Everything is about enforcing others into doing things. So the most priceless thing you have is your freedom. You see, I came to America not because I'm seeking better life. Actually, my life in the Middle East, when it's come to, let us say, money or anything, it's a lot better than what I have here. But here I can say what I'm saying to you right now. This is what make me come here. I love America, for I can speak, I can say my mind, I can write my books, I can be what I want to be. If you live in Islamic countries, even the food you will eat, even when you eat, like as an example, there's a punishment, there's a penalty of jail if you eat in the month of Ramadan in the street. And if you live under like a very strict Islamic Sharia law court rules, not only they will put you in jail, they will beat the hell of you. You know, you can see there's a video of a guy. They broke his legs because he's wearing a jeans. That's it. This is the crime. You know, they break his legs in public. They gather the people in the middle of the square of the town, and they start beating his legs with big 4x4 wood until they broke his legs because he was wearing jeans. This is what you will witness. This is a dangerous cult. This is not just a cult. There's many cults in the world. You know, there is a Jehovah's Witnesses, there's etc. But they will not do what the Muslims do. Islam is a very dangerous, disgusting, satanic cult, and this is why all of us, we have to fight it, even if you are an atheist, because Islam is a threat for everybody. Islam is not against the Christian. Actually, the Christians, compared to the atheists, they will have a lot better treatment from the atheist. Christian, they can pay and live. Atheists should be killed according to Islamic law.
Indeed. Now, what you've seen going on in Europe, do you reckon there's any chance of that taking hold in North America, or specifically the United States?
I don't believe Muslims will take hold of anything. You know, I believe Muslims is very much divided, and Islam is regardless what people they say Islam is growing. I believe Islam is dead. But still, few can do a lot of harm to the country. You know, you do not need 1 million terrorists to terrify England. We need only 1 or 2 a day. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We do not need really, you know, terrorism is not based in armies. Never been based on army. It's been based that I can terrify you. This is what the whole idea. So they do not need to have an army of fighters. If every day they launch an attack and you have 365 days a year, you know, that will make your life become miserable. For you do not know if your child will come back or not. People walk in the street, somebody will stab them with a knife. And especially in Europe, people are not allowed to carry guns, not like in USA. In USA, if somebody tried to do something to me, I have my gun with me. I am legally, I have the right to carry my gun. You know, I have a license. I can take it with me in my car, in the street, in the mall. I can take it wherever I want. So if something happened, everybody is armed. Even women in USA is armed. So terrorism, this is why you see the Muslims in USA, when they attack places which is people are not allowed to carry guns. As an example, the attack in Florida happened in a gay club, and those are gays anyway. They don't carry guns, you know, they carry their ass. So this is how it is. So they carry places, they carry the attack on a places where people they are not too much into guns, or they are not allowed to have guns. But if you know, if when they knew that everybody have guns, like now in the street where I live, who dare to shoot? I mean, who in the world dare? Nobody dare, because if you shoot, everybody will shoot at you from every direction. You know, I mean,
you hear this as well in America, that people are more reluctant to beat their horn, because we do it over in Europe, it's fine, but in America, you hoot the wrong person, he might have a gun. So you've got to be a little bit more careful before you start throwing your fingers up at someone.
Absolutely. The second you withdraw your gun, you are dead. You are dead. You know, it's mean you are committing suicide, because somebody is going to shoot you, and obviously you don't withdraw your gun to say hello. You know, nobody would draw the gun just to scare people. It's just to do it. So the second you use your weapon, you're gone. You know, and when a criminal, he knew, like, you know, this is why I don't like cities which they allowed only, like they say, the guns are not allowed. By doing that, you allowed only criminals to have guns, and nobody can stop them. By the time the police will come, the guy will be like killing 50 people. You know.
So true. And in America, you can't do that. You know, the only people who are going to be given their guns to, let's say there's an amnesty, it's only going to be the good people. All the bad people are going to keep the guns, and it's going to, they're way too far down the line. But Mr. Prince, I'm going to say to you, I'm going to stick a fork in this. I've got to crack on. But is there something you would like to get off your chest? I know you broadcast regularly and you speak very frequently, but is there one last thing you would like to express before I bid you good day?
You know, I encourage people to read and to educate themselves, and don't ever listen to a Muslim teaching about Islam, because Muslims, they lie when they speak about the religion. I never saw a Muslim they believe in taqiyya, chapter 3 verse 28, and they practice it daily base. Don't learn about Islam from Muslims. Don't learn about Islam from liberals. Learn about Islam by seeking real source. When I speak about Islam, if you read my books, you can find them on Amazon. You will see that I never spoke of my own opinion. I have the Islamic reference right away in the front of you. Everything the Muslim believe in. Muslims who speak English usually don't tell the truth, and a few of them, they speak the truth. Like, as an example, Anjem Shawadri, he speak the real Islam, but people, they say he's not you know, he's not really following the true Islam. ISIS, they speak the real Islam, but they say to you ISIS is not Islam. But the fact it is the opposite. Those are the true Muslims. Anything else is fake. And I challenge anyone to show me one thing ISIS did is not what Muhammad did. One thing, just one, you cannot find it. Muhammad, he ordered to burn people. Muhammad, he split a woman 2 pieces when she was alive. Muhammad, he ordered to kidnap. Muhammad, he ordered to assassinate. Muhammad, he killed women. Muhammad, he did everything. And actually ISIS, I believe strongly, are a lot nicer than Muhammad. So don't listen to just people say to you what they say. Check it out yourself, investigate, and don't be a fool. That's all.
Definitely so. Definitely so. I'm going to put some links up to your work on my website, but where can people check out your work? You're most predominantly found on YouTube, correct?
Yes, actually, if you go to minds.com/Christian Prince, they can find me, or they can find me in Batterion. They can search for a Christian Prince, they can find me. And I have an account in YouTube at the Arabian Prophet, they can find me that too, you know. And you know, my videos are all over, not only in my channel, but if you wanna like the website, you know my page in Minds, right? You have it because
that's how we contacted each other.
Yeah, because you text me there, so you can, you know, already you have there. And if they go there, they can click at any of my videos, and they will find my YouTube too, and they will find my Facebook, etc.
Okay, great. Now this is a very short episode for you. You don't mess around. The amount of like, I've looked at some of your videos, they're like 4.5 hours long, 5 hours long. So this is just a brief conversation for you.
Yeah, well, you know, because education is education, and I don't like fast food. You know, like when you give me a topic, either I cover it, or I better not to speak about it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because you need to reach the point. It's like, you know, imagine somebody invite you to a restaurant, and then he says to you, you can take from the dish a bite. I mean, why you put the dish in the front of me if you want to give me only a bite? Either you give me the dish or don't give it to me. I believe in dish giving, not a bite.
Awesome. Okay then. So, well, look, thank you so much for your time today. I've really enjoyed it, and I've learned a lot. I well and truly have. So thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend, and God bless. And feel free to contact me again if you like to have another talk time, and I will be happy to do it.
That's great. I think there's a lot more knowledge for you to share, so I'll probably take you up on that offer. Thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome. God bless. Take care.
Top man. See you later. Bye bye.
Bye bye.